Exclamation, everybody, and welcome to Hades Star. It's by Parallel Space. It is a mobile game, and it's a mobile sci-fi game, sci-fi strategy game with timers. So it's best if I explain this by kind of explaining the world, or the way that this fits into other games out there. There's a whole class of browser-based games that are timer-based. These are in many ways the precursor to idle games. An idle game is something that will play itself while you're not logged into it. This is kind of sort of that, but not the same thing. These are based on timers. So what happens is everything in the game, like building ships, or, well, not building ships in this particular case, but in other games of this ilk, like building ships or building fleets or building factories or colonizing planets and stuff like that. In these types of games, generally there's a timer that ticks down and says, all right, that's going to take you 5 minutes of real time, or that's going to take you 10 minutes of real time. Or as you get further and progress further in the game, things take longer and longer. Like an upgrade of your granary to a level 10 might take 6 hours, of real time. So these become sort of the types of games where they're almost like lunch break kind of games, right? Like you log in like once or twice a day, you check on things, maybe kick a few things off, and then you let it sit until the next day. Up till now, most of those have been relegated just to the browser, because the browser actually lended itself well to that kind of thing. So games like Grapolis, and Tribal Wars, or as it's called now, Tribal Wars 2, or O-Game, which is the more sci-fi version of it. Basically, O-Game is, if you were to take Master of Orion, you make all the AI players actual players, remove all the diplomacy and all that stuff, and just generally slap timers, real-time timers on things like colonization takes a day or whatever like that. You pretty much described O-Game for the most part. So this is sort of taking all those concepts and putting it onto a mobile game, which actually lends itself better than the browser games would, because everybody's got a phone on them now, and you're not blocked by your corporate firewall usually, unless you're going through their Wi-Fi. So it's like, just log in, do your thing, and that's it. The thing is, these games are Sharkbait. Basically, these live and die on getting sharks to spend lots and lots of money on them. And there are plenty of opportunities that they weave into the narrative of the game to get you to spend lots of your hard-earned money. Thing is, when I talk about that, as far as like Grapolis or other ones that I've played in the browser, it's usually a pretty fair trade. Like you're buying like coins or whatever. In this case, you buy, I believe these are crystals. Yep. You buy some sort of in-game currency for real money, and you spend it. But for the most part, in some of those other games, spending that might take you a little bit of time. Or there might be like a subscription where you pay a thing for an entire month, and it gives you like speedier production or something like that. This game in particular, for those who like those other kinds of games, I would say about 60% of the people who like those other games, like Grapolis, Tribal Wars 2, O-Game, stuff like that, when presented with this game, you would probably bounce off of it very quickly, because this game takes all that stuff to the extreme as far as timers go. It's very frustrating when you first get into the game. It's very frustrating even now that I'm 3 weeks in here. But I'll get to that in a moment. Let me actually explain what's going on the screen. So this is a space-based strategy game, timer-based thing. You've got planets. The planets all produce shipments. The shipments, this one in particular produces 1.5 shipments per hour, with about 287 roughly as far as the credits go. And I can get a maximum of 18 shipments that can be shipped around. And then here's the credit yield. 21 credits per hour I'll get, which is, as you'll see by how much everything costs as far as credits go, that's paltry. It's got 13,000 credit storage, and here's how much hydrogen it gives you, and hydrogen storage. Really, the main thing for these planets are the storage, because that's what allows you to actually gain access to. That's basically your leveling system in this game, which is it's sort of the gatekeeper to the other content that you'd want to play, but you can't get to there because you don't have enough storage to store your credits and your hydrogen and all that stuff. People who have played Tribal Wars know about storage and like having granaries and stuff to be able to store enough resources to be able to buy troops and all that stuff. This is kind of the same thing, but to an even more dickish level, as you'll see when I try to explain what's going on here. So up at the top of the screen is the number of credits I have, the amount of hydrogen I have, and the number of crystals. The crystals are the in-game currency, which allow you to speed up things a little bit. So if I click on this, it'll tell me here is my maximum storage based on all the planets that I own. And what my income per hour is. Now you can see my maximum storage is 69,000. My income per hour, and mind you, I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, the moons don't count. 3, 4, 5, 6 planets. Okay, and my income per hour is 104, which is ridiculously low. Especially when you consider if I want to do something now. Say for instance I want to build another transport. That's 7,200 credits, because I'm at based on how many times I've upgraded, which I'm up to what, level 3 on that. So in order to buy another transport, which I couldn't do anyway because I don't have the fleet capacity. Again, this game goes out of its way to be a dick to you at every turn. In order to do this, I would need 7,200 credits. Now you look at how much I'm making per hour. I'm making 104 per hour. So I would have to wait, if I didn't do anything at all, I would have to wait something like 70 hours to get that kind of money. Just to, if I'm doing my math right, about 70 hours just to get the credits needed to do that. So obviously there's more profitable ways of doing things. The planets in this game are really more important as storage areas. That's which is kind of a disappointing thing, right? You look at this and you're like, oh, they could go so many different ways with this. They could make this so much, you could have factories that you could build, everything else. This could be like O Game is, where you could build factories and you can do all this research and all that stuff, and it's got none of that. This is just about as shallow as it gets as far as the strategy goes. Really, they focus most of their strategy, quote unquote, on the battles that you'll fight, or going to the red stars that you'll have to go to. And we'll talk about red stars in a minute. I've got my guys lined up and ready to go to a red star. It's going to take me a little bit to get to that point because there's a lot to explain going on here. So while I was explaining earlier things, I've sent my miners off to mine some more hydrogen. This is our hydrogen here. It's almost full. We have 9,000 as our capacity, and we have 105 per hour. Our next installment is in 43 minutes. Hydrogen is used in moving your ships around, even moving the miner ships around. So it's very important as far as, not only as far as moving your ships around and moving your transports around, but also a lot of these abilities, like the repair ability and stuff, costs, hydrogen as well. Like the repair ability costs 200 hydrogen to do of my battleship and things. So it's a very important resource. It's also the resource that will stop you from being able to play the game for periods of time, quite long periods of time. It's yet another gatekeeping mechanism in this game. This game's got a lot of gatekeeping mechanisms. It tries very, very hard to piss you off to the point where you'd never want to play it ever again. It's like, it tries very hard to make it so you can't play this more than 5 minutes a day without getting super frustrated with it. So we'll start burning through lots of hydrogen. I've sent these guys off because I'm going to start burning through lots of hydrogen once we go to this red star here. Also, I can burn 6 more by having it do a mining boost, so that will actually reduce the amount of time it takes to mine this asteroid out. So we went down to 15 minutes. You see this guy over here, it's 38 minutes. So do that, and now it's down to 15 minutes to collect all the hydrogen there from those things. And these regenerate as time goes on. Every day, another patch of these will regenerate. So it is hex-based. That comes into play as far as expansion is concerned. So for instance, if I look at this right here, this is my short-range scanner. And this is the first one I built, and I built it for 2,500 credits. And what that does is you build this in a sector that you own and a hex that you own, and then for 2,500 credits every time, you can scan sectors immediately around it, immediately around this hex. So that's how I was able to expand out this way. Now, the trick here is that it takes time to scan these. At first, it didn't take very long, maybe like a half an hour or so. Now it's like 13 hours or something like that, I think was the last one that it took to scan. If I go over to my most recent scanner here, this guy costs 20,000. That's the other thing. The credits for these guys go up. So this guy was the first one I built, used 2,500 credits, and costs 2,500 credits just to build him and also to scan a sector. Right? Every time you scan one sector at a time. So each one of these sectors that I've scanned around it costs 2,500. This guy here was the second one I put down, 10,000. So every sector that I scanned around this guy, 10,000 credits it costs. Now you can see how slow it is to build up credits and actually make progress. This guy here, 20,000 credits every time I wanted to do something. And to be fair, when I got to this point, I was like, I really need a planet, because I was not finding any other additional planets in order to have enough storage capacity to build some of the larger things that I wanted to build. Credit storage capacity. So it was good that I found this planet here. Now the planets themselves, as you might imagine, they start out at level 1. These are at level 9. Upgrading it from level 1 to level 2 is like 100 credits. Level 2 to level 3 is like 500. Level 3 to level 4 is 1,000. And then it's like 5,000. And then 10,000. And then 20,000. And then if I look at a level 10 here, 30,000. So you can see how that's progressively getting more and more expensive. So it really behooves you to have as many planets as possible, because you will eventually get to a point where you don't have enough credit storage in order to buy something. And that is particularly evident if I go into the build menu here. You'll see that we got the next short range scanner is going to cost me 40 grand. You can only have one red star scanner, which makes sense. The thing that really pisses me off is you can only have one research station. You'll see why this pisses me off in a moment. But diplomacy station, my first diplomacy station I think costs 40,000. The next one costs 500,000. That's not happening anytime soon. Warp lane hub costs 50,000 credits. Now the thing I've been saving up for is the trade station, which costs 60,000. Now if I look here at my capacity right now, I'm at 69,000. So I'm just barely above the capacity needed to make enough credits to actually do that. And I had to get to that point by getting all these guys. He's at level 10, he's at level 10, he's at level 10. So I need to get 3 of my planets to level 10, and the other ones, 1, 2, and 3, are at level 9. Just to do that. And remember, every one of these upgrades costs a ton of credits. There's a lot of frustration to be had here. In addition, we go to research. Now you think, okay, so how do you make credits? So you make credits by, and I'll do this by going over to my allies area here. You make credits. This is an ally that I've allied with. He's part of the corporation that I joined. So what happens is once you get a diplomacy station, you can join up with somebody or accept their invite, and then you can send your transports into their area and then go around and picking up and delivering supplies for them. Now, normally if you pick up and deliver supplies in your own sector, you get the full price. So it might cost, depending on the distance between the planet and where it needs to go, it might cost like 200 credits. It might give you 200 credits as a reward. That seems to be in this area when I go to deliver things. If I go look at what's here to be shipped, right? Shipments. This is what I was talking about earlier with shipments. It looks like the commission you get is about 10%, is what I'm seeing here. So that means that like the guy that I'm shipping for will probably get about 380 credits, say, or something like that. And I'm only going to get 38 credits in commission. Now you think, well, that's not a whole lot of commission. And you're right, it's not. But the idea is, and I have 7 storage space on this thing, so I'm going to run some supplies here. The idea is that you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of thing. So this guy's been pretty good at, while I'm offline, he'll go around and run supplies for me, which means I get the full price for them, he gets a little commission for them, and then when he's offline, I'm running supplies for him. And it's like, yeah, the rewards are kind of paltry, but it helps. You know, there have been times when I've come back into the app here and I think yesterday I had like 8,000 credits just accredited to me because this other guy went and shipped a whole bunch of stuff between my planets for me. So it does pay off if you get somebody who is active and wants to really help you out and stuff. Otherwise, you'll find people who just take and don't give, but that's rare from what I've seen thus far. Looks like there's something going on here. Yeah, okay, so I'm part of a corporation and somebody has just started a level 3 red star search. It looks like it's almost going to complete. I could join them if I wanted to. I am not going to do that because I'm trying to explain things right now, but I could join them at any time as long as that red star is in progress. I have to explain red stars before I do that, so I don't want to do that just yet. When I go and search for a red star, I'll make it private so that's for the corporation, so there might be others in the corporation who join me. I'm at level 4, but I can also do level 3 and level 2 as it is. It just won't get I won't get the very good rewards out of it. So my guy is spinning around doing his thing here, so I can just go and hit this. This is a time speed up, and so he'll actually go a little bit faster now because he's in a time warp thing, and that lasts for about 2 minutes and 15 seconds or so. You can see here, this is a ship by the other guy, this Alumba guy. He's got his freighter here, transport here, and he was going around at one point. You will see them if they have set them off. You'll see them actually moving around and stuff like that, and delivering supplies and everything. Of course, you'll see the credits going up and whatnot. But that sort of brings us up to the main draw of the game. So that's how you sort of make the credits here. The main draw of the game is running what are called red stars. And these are stars that are about to go supernova within 15 minutes. So basically you gather your fleet up, you do this red star scanner, and once it finds something, you can jump in and you'll have to face a bunch of enemy ships. Now the enemies are all NPCs. There's no, as far as I can tell, there's no PvP in this game. It's all PvE. The Cerberus forces are all NPCs, and you have to face a bunch of them, and in so doing, you free up a sector for your transports to go in and gather materials off of these planets that are about to be destroyed. These materials, when you bring them back through the red star scanner, assuming you get back in one piece without being destroyed, you take them over to your research station, and in here the research station will queue up to 4 of them and start researching them. And when it starts to research those artifacts that you've gathered up, it will take, for a level 4 star, if I do a high level planet in a level 4 star, because level 4 star has both high level and low level planets in it. If I do a high level planet in it, it will take 3 hours to do a research, to just research one of them. So you're looking at 3 times 4 or 12 hours for the entire, if I had 4 of them. More than likely I'll have a combination of both a large one and like a level 4 artifact and a level 3 and a level 2 probably, because each one of those takes more space. Like the level 4 thing takes 4 tons of space on your transports, and my transports right now, even though I've upgraded them and I've got all kinds of stuff on them, can only hold up to 7 tons. So I can't quite get 2 level 4 artifacts on there, but I can get a level 4 artifact on there and maybe a level 3 or 2 artifact on there, and then have like a mishmash of these things. And this is where you make most of your money, most of your credits. You get some hydrogen from it. You also get XP from it. You can see I'm level 34 as far as XP is concerned. I've got 1300 reputation for doing red stars and whatnot, and they give you your graphs on your income and expenses and all that stuff for both credits and hydrogen. And you got a bunch of achievements like how many shipments you've done, upgrade one of your planets level 12, yellow star explorer, which is explore 15 sectors in your star, get up to 8 fleet size, which is a lot harder than you might even imagine, hydrogen collector, artifact hunter, so on and so forth. All these give you, what do they call those again? Crystals. All those award you crystals, which then allow you to potentially speed up some of these timers that are going on. Alright, so I think I've rambled on enough. I will talk about the buttons down below in a little bit, but let's go zoom in a little bit, and let's go and scan for a red star here. So just to get to level 4 red star scanner, I had to pay 60,000, I think, credits just to get there, and now to get to level 5, it's 120,000. So you can kind of see how this inflates and how the other parts of the game don't increase with it, so it don't keep pace with it. So you end up in a situation where you really can't do anything you want to do for weeks on end. So scanner status, this is the results of the last red star that I did, and actually it saves a replay, so you can actually view the whole replay of it if you want to see what went on and what happened. But let's do it for real, shall we? I'm going to make it a private one so only the corporation can see it. I'm going to do a level 4. It's going to cost me 350 hydrogen just to scan it. And I can get between 15 and 50 influence as far as objectives. It says fill the objectives as a red star to receive this. I don't know. I assume the objectives means just, destroy things and also get some artifacts. I assume that's what they mean by that. I haven't seen any objectives actually flash up on the screen or anything. So we got that scan going on. That's probably going to take that will probably take all of a minute. I mean, you think that timer is just kind of being a little bit over-promising, but really, honestly, it does take about a minute for it to scan for red stars that are available. That also, since I did it private, it also should have published it here. So yeah, it's published it to the corporation. So other people in the corporation, if they want to, could join me, and we could have we could help each other out. I have also in the past joined red stars that have come by and helped people out by, taking on the Cerberus and trying to send my battleships through and try to help them get to the resources with a minimum of problem. Obviously, we got a bunch of chats here. We got the Galaxy chat and Star System chat and all that stuff. All right, a red star has been discovered. So now we click on my battleship. We'll go jump, and confirm. We'll follow it to the target star. It's going to cost 200 because it's not just jumping. I said to jump everything that was docked there, not just my battleship. All right, so now we're in a red star. We're under a time limit. This is a level 4 planet, so I definitely want to get rid of these guys here so I can get the artifacts off of there because that's the highest tier artifact that I can get. This is a level 3, which is pretty good, but not as good. And then this is a level 1, which has really crappy artifacts, but it's still nice to have them. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can draw some of these Cerberus here. This guy's got lasers, so I want to have him come down there. And then my other guy's got the regular traditional guns, because I'm trying to mix them up a little bit to get as much damage on target as I can. The lasers, you might think would do a lot more damage, but really the damage it takes them 45 seconds to spin up, so it takes 45 seconds to get the maximum damage out of them, whereas the guns, you get maximum damage right away. So that's why I'm kind of mixing and matching them. Also, I've got passive shields on, which means they have 5,000, both of my battleships have 5,000 shields. As you can see, they're starting to attack now. And they, the shields will regen a little bit at a time over time. So you can keep an eye on those. I also have the repair ability, which will come in handy. If the shields go down, this will help repair the hull. It may not help entirely, but it's better than nothing. You can zoom in a little bit here so you can see what's happening. You see this guy's shields he's taking the brunt of damage here, it looks like. So his shields are going to go down pretty soon. Yep, in fact, they're down now. So let's put some repairs on him. Now the repair is in a bubble, so it actually is going to help repair both of these ships, although it doesn't repair shields, it only repairs hull. But it's just good to keep that in mind. This guy's almost dead. Excellent. So that's good. And then this has got another 20 seconds, so he'll probably repair all the way up to full. So now I'm going to send my transports in, and we're going to pick up some artifacts if we can. And I think over here, how much tonnage are these? These are 4 tons. Yeah, see, these are level 3 and they're 4 tons, so I can't really do much with those because I only have 7 tons of tonnage that I could do. So it behooves me just to go down to this level 1 guy, get rid of him, which shouldn't be that difficult because he's just a low level. This is just a low level sentinel here, I think. Yeah, they only do like 210 damage a second. And then what I could do is, once my transports get done here, picking up one thing from there, they can run down here and pick up what's left of that, and then I can try sending them back and see if I have enough time to come back and get some more, which I might, because we got lucked out a little bit in that we were right next to where we needed to be as far as this is concerned. I'm also going to speed up time here because that actually speeds up the amount of time it takes to load things as well. So it'll actually load a little bit faster than a minute. So that allows us to save a little bit of time here because we only got 11 minutes left before this thing goes supernova. Once it goes supernova, unless you have the ability that called, I forget the name of it, but there's an ability in the game that allows you to jump away if your ship is about to be destroyed. Unless you have that, your ship is destroyed and you have to build a new one. And if it was a transport, you just lost everything that you were hauling on that transport. So it behooves you not to do that, not to fall into those traps. Okay, so now have you come over here. Whoops, I hit the wrong thing. I want you to go fast. When you first select a destination for things, it waits 10 seconds, and then if you pay 82 hydrogen, it will actually go a little bit, it'll go immediately. There's an in-game explanation for it, but basically it's the game, it's yet another example of the game just being a dick about things. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna waste your hydrogen just because I can. That's really all that is. I'm gonna let those guys go on their own though, because I don't need them immediately going over there, because they can heal up a little bit over time. And you can take that one. Alright, so we've cleared this planet out. So I'm going to take these guys back home and then see if I can get them, see if I can get back here in time to take another one of those other artifacts there. Alright, so we'll get these guys going. Excellent. The shields are repaired a little bit on here. I generally like to let the Cerberus forces come at me, because as they're moving, it seems like I have a better shot of actually destroying them without taking too much damage myself. That just seems to be the way it fleshes out. It gives me, like, it makes it so that I'm usually only taking on one at a time instead of taking on multiples at a time, usually. As you can see, in this particular case is a good example of that. So that's why I do it this way here. Alright, we can do this. This guy's shields are down. Alright, let's get you guys jumping away here. Excellent. Alright, follow the target star. I'll leave my battleships there for now. They're relatively safe. Let's get this guy down here. And we'll get this guy down here. And what will happen is these guys will automatically queue up on the research station will automatically queue up anything that is from any cargo that is docked, any shipments that are docked with it. So when you send your guys here, they automatically dock, and this guy's empty now. And the research station will snarf it up for you. All right, both of them are empty. That's good. And you'll see here, if I look at the research station, we've got all 4 slots lined up, and you can see how long it's going to take. Like, this is going to take 3 hours. This is going to take 3 hours. These are the level 4 ones, and these are the level 1 ones that are taking 2 hours a piece there. And I might have, let's see, we got 8 minutes. That should be enough time to jump back and grab the rest of the level 4s on there. Basically, at this point, I'm just stacking the deck. How many more are on here? It's just the one that's on there, right? So let's send that one guy there, and we'll send this guy over to the level 3 thing here to grab that. And then here's a level 2 right here. This has the 2 tons one. If I could have got down there, I'm not going to try to go down there, but if I could have gotten down there, that would have been, if that had been up here or something, I would have gone after that too and had them go down there and grab that. But there's no easy way. I'd have to go through these guys basically to get there. Like, I can't bounce off of it bounce off the sun there and go that way. So not going to worry about that. It's not worth it. It costs a lot of money to replace battleships when they're destroyed, so there's no point in pushing my luck with that. Let's have you do that. Thank you. And we'll have you do this there. Good. I'll have you speed up. Actually, I'll have both of them speed up. Because why not? Why waste any time here if we don't need to? And if there was another level 1 planet, I'd go for that too, but there isn't. Just this guy down here that's a good hit, but I'm not going to take the bait. I've done that far too many times and ended up with, because the other thing you got to remember is that your transit times, not only does it take time to load up your ships, but it takes time to move between systems. So you have to keep in mind that it's going to take time for your ships. Your ships are very slow, so it takes time for them to move between all these different points. And there's been many a time when I've gone off, grabbed something like this, and then on the way back I've realized that there isn't enough time left, and the freighter is caught in the supernova, and we're done for. That's a freighter down the drain, and all the stuff that was carrying down the drain. So you do have to manage your expectations and manage your time as to what you're actually going to go after and what you're not going to go after. And it takes basically losing a couple freighters before you're like, all right, I kind of understand what I need to do and what I don't need to do. That's why I put the time warp on these guys, because it has helped in the past. Like, I have gotten it where putting the time warp on them has made it so that I've had 3 seconds before a red star goes supernova to jump them out, and I've done that where I've jumped them out just in the nick of time. So there's plenty of stories of that going on here. All right, I think we are done with that red star for now, and let me see if these guys need any repairs. This guy, his shields are almost up, his hull is okay, and then this guy His hull is okay. His shields are still regenerating. All right, cool. So these guys are fine. I can leave them there. What you can do is, if they needed repairs, I would just send them to one of my planets, and as long as they're in orbit of one of your planets, they'll repair. And the repairs on your battleships can take, an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how badly they're damaged. So that's another thing to keep in mind there. All right, and then basically at this point, all I can really do is send these guys down here to dock with my research station. My research station is full, so there's one of two things I can do. Either I can go in here and I can click on these and say, oh, I've got 41 crystals, so I'll finish this now. Or I could just say, you know what, it ain't worth even trying this because it's so low level. I'll just salvage what I can from it, and it'll just give you this little bit of credits and a little bit of hydrogen. More often than not, salvaging stuff does not actually, the rewards are so low from it that you really just would rather just wait the 2 hours. So obviously the other option is to just wait for this queue to go through. Now you can see 2 hours and 55 minutes for this guy. It's going to cost 208 crystals. This guy costs 212 crystals. It's a little bit crazy. I mean, they're obviously trying to, as I said, it's a whale fishing game, right? They're trying to get, or shark fishing game, I should say. They're trying to get the sharks, the people who are going to spend tons of money on the game. The problem is that, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that because that's the way a lot of these games work. That's the way Griopolis works. That's the way Tribal Wars works. That's the way O-Game works. That's the way free-to-play games work in general. The problem with this game is that if I look at the store here at the cash shop, right, $5.49 will give you 600 crystals, right? One shipment worth 75 crystals appears every day for 8 shipments. 8 shipments will appear in total over the next week. So 1 shipment a day, 2 for the first day, basically. That sounds like it's a lot. But as I just demonstrated by looking at the research queue there, the main thing that you would be saving is in research as far as the crystals are concerned. And 600 crystals, like 75 crystals is not a lot. You saw 75 crystals would only get me the 2 hours of research done. It would not even get me the 3 hours that I needed for some of those other ones. Those cost like 200 or so. Then you've got the crystal pack of small crystal pack, which just gives you 100 crystals right away for $3. A medium that gives you 500 right away for $10. A large, it's 1,200 for $20, and huge for $50, which is 3,000 crystals. And epic for $100 with 8,000 crystals. Now, you look at 8,000 crystals and you're like, man, that would probably last me a long time. Probably not. Probably not. When you first start the game, they do start you off with crystals like any other game would, but you will find yourself burning through them within the first 3 to 5 minutes of playing the game, because everything costs exorbitant amounts of money in here. Even when you're spending real money on it, everything costs exorbitant amounts in game with the in-game currency and whatnot. Hydrogen, you can see what the prices are for those. These require crystals in order to do it. So you can see like 3,450 hydrogen, which is about what I would need to run a red star at any level really, is 167 crystals. So you can see how things kind of flesh out here. Now look at credits here. If I wanted to shortcut the amount of credits I needed, if I wanted to get 34,500 credits, it would cost 381 crystals. You say, well, where's 381 crystals on this thing here? Well, you would need to buy the medium pack, which is $10. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I think everything, all the prices here are heavily inflated, and the in-game prices are also heavily inflated because things just constantly increase in price. Like my shipyard, if I wanted to get to level 5 shipyard, which would allow me to have 8 because because you see right now I'm at my fleet capacity of 7. It would give me a fleet capacity of 8, which will allow me to build another either transport miner or battleship, right? In my case, I would want another transport. In order to get to that, I need 80,000 credits. I can't get to 80,000 credits because I don't have enough credit storage to do that, right? And you say, well, what if you were to go to 69,000 credits and then use your crystals to get to that point? I don't think it'll actually work, and B, it would probably cost I'd say 300 crystals just to do that. You can see how everything's kind of very highly inflated. Now, when you run supply runs here on your planets, you see here's the rewards you would normally get. Occasionally your planets will produce crystals. Let's see if I can find one. This one doesn't have it. This one doesn't have it either. Occasionally it will produce crystals, and you'll be able to, if you deliver those shipments, those crystals will be added to your score, or added to your bank there. This one has 3 crystals, so you can see. Crystal container of 3. So if I were to send a ship over to deliver this to Achilles 1, which is one of these other planets, then I'd go up to 16 crystals. 2 and 3 and 4 are about the limit of the amount of crystals you'll see actually produced per day by one of your planets, and that's it. So trying to acquire crystals through in-game play is nigh on impossible, and a fool's errand at that. So you would really have to put money down for it. There's no one who would be dedicated enough to try to do it the other way around. Especially with the game constantly slapping you in the face. And there are times, like I said, in the aforementioned times when you're kind of stuck. This hydrogen, if you don't have enough hydrogen with you, you could be stuck on the wrong side of this portal in a red star system. I found myself stuck in one at one point because I ran out of hydrogen. And right at that moment when it says you do something that requires hydrogen, it'll pop up a message like, would you like to buy this amount of hydrogen for 200 crystals or whatever? And it's like, well, I found myself at one point in a situation where I didn't have enough crystals, and I was like, well, I really don't want to lose these things. So I purchased I think one of those crystal packs, like the 100 crystal pack or whatever, which is like $3 or whatever. And then I was able to get to extract my ships from the red star and not lose them immediately. Those kinds of situations are pretty prevalent throughout this game. This game is doing its darndest, going above and beyond the normal, usual ilk here to really suck money out of you. To the point where it actually gets a little bit annoying. That's why I say like 60% of people who like these kinds of games will probably absolutely hate this game, because they'll just bounce right off it and go, it's too slow, you can't do anything. This right here, I'm level 34. I've been playing for about 3.5 weeks. This has been a long run up to just making this videos, because it's just taken that much time to try to get things going. And a lot of times what you do is you find yourself in a situation where you just want to run a red star real fast, get as much research as you can, bring it back, and just have these guys queued up and ready to pump research into your research station, so that when you wake up in the morning, you can just click on the things and say, give me this, give me this, give me this, and give me this, right away. Because that's primarily where you get most of your credits and stuff from. And that's where you get all your XP from, for the most part, and all that stuff. Now, some of the things I've been neglecting down here, this is modules. The other result of doing research is that you'll find module parts. And those module parts add up to being able to create upgrades or create new modules. Like this here is a new module that I haven't created yet. It's called remote mining. And these modules, once you install them in your ships, which costs credits, 2,500 credits to install this. Once you install that in your ships, it then becomes something that that ship will utilize, or that you have to click on to utilize. So the battleships that you saw that had the repair thing on them, well, repair is one of these modules here, or even the weapons are modules and all that stuff. So if I look at the repair module here, I'm at level 2 on this guy. right? So he's got a 50 astronomical unit range. It lasts for 35 seconds, repairs 70 hit points per, or hull points per second, and has a 20-minute cooldown, and it's got an activation cost around it and an install price. The next upgrade on this guy requires 100 blueprints, which again, you get the blueprints from doing research. So, and you get them at random, so there's no like guarantee that I'm going to get the 40 blueprints that I need for this technology. I have to wait. I basically have to constantly queue up stuff to be researched, artifacts to be researched, in order to have a chance that I'll get enough blueprints to get to level 3 on this guy. And then once you get enough blueprints, then you hit the upgrade button, and that will upgrade some parts of this. Now, it won't tell me on this one because it knows I don't have any of the prerequisites, but if I look at one like the teleport one, it'll say here, like, oh, you've got enough blueprints to do this. It's going to cost 1,200, and it's going to add 70 AU to the effect range. It's going to add 30 to the amount of hydrogen it costs, and it's going to add 250 to the install price. It's not going to affect the cooldown at all, though. And it's also going to take you 4 hours to do it. So again, everything's on a timer. That said, you can shortchange that if you pay for the crystals and all that stuff. So a lot of times I'm in a situation where I want to do the research just to get modules, just to get enough parts for these modules so that I can upgrade my stuff. Like here is the passive shield module. I'm very close to getting the next upgrade on that, which would be really fantastic, except there's no guarantee I'm going to get it, because everything is random based on the as far as the research is concerned. So I might get parts for that, I might get parts for something else I don't really care about. So there's that random element in there that makes it, again, very frustrating to deal with. There's a lot of frustrations in this game, lots of it. The game, more so than any I've seen to date, this game actively makes you want to not play it. It actively goes out of its way to be an asshole about everything. Even the diplomacy and stuff, like this diplomacy station, let's see if I can find out how much that costs. Diplomacy station, I think, cost 60,000 when I did it. It's now, the next one costs 500,000. 60,000 credits, which means you can't even build a diplomacy station and join a corporation or anything like that. I don't know about joining a corporation, but you can't even build a diplomacy station until you've got your planets up to at least level 9. And you've got enough planets to do it. Like, you have to have at least 6 or 7 planets, or 5 or 6 planets in order just to do that. It's pretty bonkers. It's pretty darn bonkers. And then if I zoom out here a little bit, you can see that my yellow star extends all the way down here. The next thing I want to do, besides, I want to get a trading post, which I don't know what it does. It kind of tells you what it does, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense until you put it down. That costs 60,000 credits. But the next thing I want to do after that is to build another one of these telescopes, one of these short-range scanners, which is going to cost, I think, 40 grand. And I can put one like here, and then it'll allow me to scan this blank sector, this blank sector, this blank sector. And then that's it. And then I need to put another one out there, which will probably cost 80 grand for all I know. Or I could put one over here and try to get these 3 sectors or whatever. There's a lot more over on this side that I probably should look at to see if I can find a planet, because really you need planets more than anything else. What happens is you will uncover hexes that have Cerberus in them. I've uncovered 2 hexes so far that had Cerberus stations, light Cerberus stations. So I had to do some hit and run tactics on their station to try to get my battleships in and do some damage, and then pull them back out and let them repair, and then pull them back in, and try to destroy the stations that way. Otherwise, if you don't destroy them, they keep spawning new ones every hour or so, or every 4 hours, whatever it was. So it's they've focused a lot on the combat, even though it's slow and painful at times. They have put a lot of focus, a lot of emphasis on that, which is nice. But it's combat that's punctuated by a lot of just nothing. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of nothing else to do, especially early on before you have the room or the credits to do other things here. And then check in on my guy here and run some more shipments for this guy. Just because I'm a nice guy and all those things. So yeah, that's kind of the state of things. That's Hades Star in a nutshell. It's certainly not breaking any new ground as far as game play or anything like that. It is really busting my chops a lot though, because I so very much want to enjoy the game, and I kind of do, because I really like these games as sort of the, every 5 minutes, like twice a day or so, just take a look at it in the morning, take a look at it in the evening, and then it gives you something to sort of take your mind off of other things. But it's such a short-lived experience, and it's the only game that I've seen thus far that, a lot of these games rely heavily on their community. They rely heavily on cooperation between other players or battling between other players. This is the first time that I've seen a game like this that actively pushes all that stuff off for a long time, like weeks. It took me at least 2 weeks before I finally had enough to do a diplomacy station, right? And it's a little bit crazy pants, especially given that you can have somebody else help you. And then the idea that you're helping somebody else and they're helping you is really nice. It's a really cool idea. In practice, it may not necessarily actually happen. I just got lucky and found somebody who feels equally as I do, as far as helping each other out and helping other people of the corporation out. So there's also, in-game messages and all that stuff. So just so you know what all these are, leaderboards. There's somebody who has reached level 116 and has 40-50 as far as influence is concerned. I still don't know, did I gain any influence from that last red star? I gained 20 influence. I don't know exactly how that works. Like, it's just something that they tell you, like between 15 and 50 influence. I guess it depends on how many Cerberus you kill or how many planets you empty out of stuff. I don't really know, honestly, how that works out. And at the end of the day, I don't know what this is good for. Is there operational capability? Influence can be earned by participating in Red Star mission. It just says this indicates a player's operational capability. What that means, I couldn't tell you. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if that means I can be higher in a corporation or not. Someone promoted me to senior member. I didn't do that myself, so I don't know what any of that means. Apparently I also have more influence than everybody else in the corporation. Again, I don't know how that happened. I don't know why it's happened. I don't know how it happened. I just know I guess that's just a ranking thing. That's just to show what your rank is as far as playing the game is concerned. And I guess that all combines to make your corporation have more influence, because apparently there's corporation influence now. So that's a thing. So I don't know. Region International. I guess these are other corporations. That's all the number of corporations, really? It feels like that's a little bit lax as far as the number of corporations. Maybe it's only showing me a subset of them. I don't know. I honestly don't know how many people are playing this. I know it's got a very good rating on the App Store, the Google Play Store, but I don't know how many people have persevered long enough to deal with a lot of the slowness and failings of this game. Oh, but that's, I think, gives you a good rundown of the game. I mean, you know, the audio's okay, the visuals are okay. It's just a really frustrating game. It's just frustratingly slow paced game. It's a game that the goalposts feel unnaturally far away. A lot of times with these the browser-based games that are on timers, they take a while to spin up to the point where it takes days to do things. This game will spin up very quickly to where it takes days to do things. It's just, it's running at a different pace. And then when you look at it, there's not much below the surface. It's a lot of surface stuff and then not much depth. It looks like they focus mostly on the combat. And the combat is competent, but it's nothing to write home about. And it's only against AI. And the AI is dumb. And it really... there's nothing else. Like, if you could go on the planets and build factories and stuff, there would be more depth to it. It would give it more longevity. It would give it more of a hook. As it is, I just keep coming back to this because I just like to have something that I can spend 5 minutes on and jump out of, which may be enough. That may be enough for a lot of people. I don't know. I certainly would not spend a lot of money on this because it's so blatant about its money grubbing that it like Griopolis and other games like that I've actually spent money on because it was like the deals that they were giving you were really good. They would be like, you know, 3 months of a supporter badge or whatever, and it gives you all these perks and benefits and all that stuff. This one is like, no, you're going to do a one-time thing and it's going to last, you know, half a second and then you're done. And there's very little that makes me want to actually give them money. Honestly, I did it once because I really wanted to save myself a little bit of time, but I don't think I'd be driven to do it again. I'd be more likely to just sit and wait for things to happen. So there you have it, my friends. That has been Hades Star. It is by Parallel Space. It is free to play, but has in-app purchases. It's for mobile devices. It's on Google and Android and iOS devices. It is, I think I said this already, it's by Parallel Space. And as always, I will leave links down in the description so you can do your own due diligence. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.